Okay, so parallelization. It's a technique used in Mastra workflows to execute multiple steps simultaneously and then combine their outputs into a single cohesive result. When you have multiple steps that use the same inputs and are independent, you have a prime opportunity for parallelization. And you know what? You should take it because it will make your workflow more efficient. For example, here's a code vulnerability scanner workflow that independently executes each check against the same input, aggregates the results, and then summarizes the risks, if any. To run steps in parallel using Mastra, first ensure each step has a unique ID. Then call the parallel function, passing the array of steps you wish to run in parallel. As the parallel steps execute, their outputs are collected and organized into an input data object, where each result is mapped to its corresponding step ID. Once all parallel steps have completed, this input data object is then passed to the subsequent step, where you can access each step's results by their ID. In this case, I flattened the results before returning a summary. We have 3 steps in total, and the first 2 both take the same input, which means they're eligible to run in parallel. Say we run the workflow, each step gets kicked off in parallel. They might resolve at different times. For example, step 1 might chug along and finish first. It's designed to return a string array. And so what will happen is Mastra will populate the input data object with a key or a namespace, which is an ID of the step, and then add onto it the results, which might be an array like this. Nice one, this finished. Meanwhile, and maybe just milliseconds later in reality, step 2 finishes executing, it returns a number, and so we add a namespace or key to the input data object with the results, which might be the number 1. Now that both steps have resolved or finished running, step 3 proceeds to execute. It accepts the input data object, which then has a key for the result from each step. This makes it possible to then do some further processing. And that's parallelization in a nutshell. It's a great tool for your agentic toolbox. Use it when you need to run the same input against different models or multiple prompts, such as in my case. Parallelization is also really beneficial when you need to do some setup before proceeding with the main task. For example, in a web scraping workflow, you might need to scrape data from multiple sources before proceeding with that information. You can scrape the information from different places in parallel, aggregate the results, and then continue with the rest of the workflow.